So welcome back to Bridal Briefings. Today I have a past bride with us. Erin is our guest today. I'm excited for you to be here. Um, so to kind of start off with this, how did Ryan propose to you?
Ryan and I, when we first started dating, we loved going to
Yeah.
museums, and so that's something that we did together a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a niche museum in Lincoln, Nebraska, called the Roller Skating Museum that I
Okay.
wanted to go to so bad.
Yeah.
And Ryan knew that, so they had really weird hours to where we could never actually go as a date. So he surprised me and said, I got them to open it up for us so we can go see it for a date night. And in my head, I was like, this man's proposing.
Oh
And
God.
I told my cousin 2 weeks beforehand that he was proposing. And he then tried to throw me off the scent by saying yeah, your ring's not getting here for 3-4 more weeks. And I was like, this man does not keep track of timelines. He does not know that he has the ring. So I was like, he's proposing. But I was like, whatever. We're going to go into this we're just having a fun date.
Yeah.
Well, the curator or the manager of the museum, I think, was just really excited that a proposal was happening at the roller skating museum.
Oh.
So when we went in, the guy led us through the front really quickly. And I was like, I want to go back and see it. But Ryan had a cue word to our photographer.
Okay.
Who was a really good friend of ours.
Sure.
Who is a really good friend of ours.
Right.
And he was like, that's a really nice piano. So she started coming around so I wouldn't see her. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, we've got to go back to the beginning. So the photographer ended up bumping a bunch of stuff off and made a big ruckus. And I turned and I looked at Ryan and I was like, what's going on? And so then in this itty bitty hallway of this museum, that's only one room, by the way.
Yeah.
He starts to get down on one knee. It's the most dimly lit area. It's just not. And our photographer was like, no. And so she moved us. And so then he got down on one knee in the middle of the roller skating museum. And it was really cute. And our friend had her phone set up. So we have a video recording and it's super sweet. It's really cringy to watch now. We can't watch it, but.
Oh my God, really?
It's so funny.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah.
At least he tried.
He did.
At least
he really did.
So was he? I would assume he was pretty nervous.
Yeah.
And
he was so nervous, he forgot to take off his winter coat. So in all of our pictures is this ratty winter coat until the very end. And I felt so bad because he literally worked with our friend to pick out the perfect outfit because he didn't really dress up that much before that. And so it was so sweet. But he,
yeah.
He's still kicking himself about that.
So when you say you kind of I think you said ruined it. How did you ruin it?
So we were supposed to get through the entire museum.
Okay.
And then he was supposed to propose.
Yeah.
But I messed it up by seeing the photographer, so I rushed him into the proposal, and he was not ready. He was still preparing himself. He was supposed to take off his coat before everything, and
I see now.
He got rushed into it.
Got it.
So
I mean,
in that moment, not actual.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, at least from your point of view too. If you knew who that gal was, and you kind of knew, why would she be there if you guys didn't plan something?
Yeah.
So I mean, you kind of knew. So it, at least in my perspective, it would make me feel kind of anxious because I would want to know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of cute though.
Yeah.
He tried. Oh, that's so funny. Okay. So kind of the first question that I had was, in the beginning of planning your wedding, was that the same as the outcome? Or did it kind of change throughout the time of any your theme or your decoration or when it would be?
Yeah. So we picked March 18th on March 18th.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So it was exactly 1 year. So we got engaged on March 6th.
Okay.
And we picked our venue on March 18th.
Sure.
Ryan unknowingly planned it perfectly because our proposal happened and then I had spring break. And
Okay.
so my mom and I worked together to like try and get some stuff figured out, just because we wanted to get some things situated, because we knew that we were in kind of that bridal boom of all the COVID brides were getting their weddings going,
Oh,
all of that.
yeah.
So we started looking at places, and the place that I wanted to get married
Yeah.
is where we got married, and had like I wanted to get married at the church, but then also our reception hall was like where I had been envisioning for the entire time we had
The
thought
entire
about it.
time.
So
Yeah.
it ended up pretty much exactly how I expected it. It had a lot more purple than I originally envisioned.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to have more like variety of shades of green, and I
Yeah.
did, but Ryan was also getting married, so I
Right.
had to put some of his likes in there. And he loves purple, and luckily it went with it. So like
Yeah.
we did that, but it pretty much was what I was envisioning.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
a
that's good.
little less extravagant, but
A little less
I think
extravagant?
that's
Yeah.
probably for the best.
Yeah. I really
So.
liked that reception venue.
Yeah.
That was great.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember it being so cold too. We were like
It was freezing. So actually, because of how cold it was,
Yeah.
when we were taking pictures and I was
Yes,
rushing
yep.
everybody, somebody stepped on my dress and it ripped at the bottom.
No.
Yes, there's a tear in my dress, and I was like,
Oh.
just a little more love, I guess. A little memory of the day. So.
Oh man, it just must have been from like us like going.
Because it was
through.
moving quick, and
Yeah.
I mean the grass was dead.
It was.
So
it
like
was
it
like
was scratchy.
yeah.
I'm not too stressed.
Oh, I mean, a memory to live by.
Yeah,
Exactly.
something fun.
Yeah. So when so you said that the church and the venue that
Mhm.
you picked, why specifically those places? Just was it like sentimental, or was it kind of just what's the word? Oh, we'll skip that part. Yeah. So was it kind of like sentimental, or how did it go?
So the church was, I guess I shouldn't say the church was my first choice. Originally,
Okay.
we planned on getting married at Roca and
Okay.
then having Roca as the reception.
Gotcha.
But with the unknowns of March weather, we were like, we need to reroute.
Okay.
And that's when we started looking at the church. How the
Gotcha.
church was set up on the wedding day is not how I originally had fully envisioned it.
Okay.
I thought that we were going to move a bunch of chairs and do a bunch of changes,
Sure.
but then I realized I didn't want to put it back afterwards.
Sure.
But Ryan and I actually met through our college ministry.
Okay.
And so the church has always been a big part of our life, and just the church family that we have grown through that, and growing in our faith together, we just thought it was really important to bring the church to be a part of that day.
Sure.
And then Roca, I'm a sucker for a barn.
Yeah.
I love just old rustic barns. It just fit the vibe perfectly of like,
Yeah.
it's not too classy to where everyone feels like they need to be wearing practically a prom dress,
Okay.
but then it's not rustic enough to where I feel like people are going to show up in jeans.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just that nice in between.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I also think it fits you guys too,
Yeah.
as like your style or
Mhm.
personality too. Like, and that's good. I don't mean to try
Yeah,
to
no,
put
no,
a stab
not-
or anything, but
Yeah.
it was good. It was really good. But going back to your dress, not specifically towards the rip, but for how the process of getting that, how did that go?
It was good.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Really?
Just in the sense of Ryan and I both want to include everybody, but not everybody
Gotcha.
is available at the same time. Not everybody can be there at the same time. So
Sure.
I had one fitting where all the moms were available, and so we
Okay.
did that one fitting. And then it was getting down to the wire where, with my younger sister still being in high school,
Okay.
my mom wasn't always available. So my mom picked a weekend, and she's like, I made us a dress appointment for this place.
Gotcha.
And so then that's when I went with just my mom and my sisters. And that was a lot of fun, just that bonding experience with them.
Sure.
But the actual process of picking the dress, I thought that I wanted one thing, and I found a dress where I was like, if I had this, I'd be okay with it. But nothing I was really falling in love with, and it was getting really, really frustrating.
Gotcha.
And then my mom and my sister went out there and just started pulling dresses that they were like, yeah, this is cool. This is cool.
Yeah.
And putting it on, I was like, because, of course, my mom and my sister picked a dress that was out of the budget for wedding dresses.
Of course.
And I was like,
of course.
Nope. I'm like, this isn't going to be it.
Yeah.
And then I kept looking at it, and I put it back on. And then they did the whole veil thing where they put the veil on you, and I started crying. And I was like, yep, okay. And that's when they hit me with, we're actually having a sale, and so this is like $300 cheaper than what the listing price is. And I was like, okay, perfect. Yeah, this is in budget. This is exactly what I want. This is perfect. So I only went to 2 shops. I only had 2 try-ons, I guess you could call them.
Yeah.
Which I appreciated, because I'm somebody, if I have too many options, I'm not going to make a decision.
Yeah.
So the less I tried on, the better.
Well, then it's also kind of like, I almost get kind of like anxious. When I tried on dresses, I kind of got anxious with all the dresses that they kept pulling. And you only have so much time to do it. So then they're trying to get you like all the stuff that you want to try on, or at least they think they like either parent or family or the gal or whoever's helping you. And it's like, we can relax though, right?
Well, and there's some shops where you're not even like allowed to go into the area where the dresses are at. I went to what was the bridal shop? It was honestly really nice. They have all of their dresses on a website, and you just like picked ones that interested you.
Sure.
And then they would have those pulled when you showed up for your appointment, and then they would like pick similar ones to it and help you find it from there.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I think it was just to keep their dresses nicer instead of people rummaging through them. But
I guess, I'm okay. Interesting. No, I've never heard that, though.
Yeah.
I've heard that, like, you can't, like, take it off the rack, we'll do it for you kind of thing. But interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad that it didn't go, like, as long or longer than it did, or, like, you didn't have to do many appointments.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Then at least you kind of knew and kind of can, and almost get it out of the way. Because I know, or at least I feel like that is obviously like the biggest part, or at least I should say one of the biggest parts of the wedding.
Yeah.
Because dress is a dress, and everyone wants a dress, and everyone wants to see the dress and what you picked. But that's good. That's good. So your vendors, all your vendors that you've chosen, so the question for that is, what were you actually looking for within like each thing? Like, so like personality wise, with if you worked face to face, or like food, what were you expecting from like that vendor and stuff like that? Like if that makes sense.
Yeah. So for our rehearsal dinner and for our reception, we actually chose locations that had like a required caterer.
Okay.
Because then it just takes off the pressure of having to find a caterer.
Sure.
Because I was feeling overwhelmed when you're planning a wedding, starting a new job, all that stuff. It was kind of overwhelming.
Sure.
But for the rehearsal dinner, we really wanted to have something fancier.
Yeah.
Just because it was a smaller group, we could really do something with that. And so we chose something on the higher end side for that.
Sure.
When we went to our reception, we thought that we wanted just like something simple, maybe like a steak and a chicken option, and that's it.
Okay.
But when we went to the tasting with that caterer,
sure,
we did not enjoy a lot of the options. They just weren't fitting what we wanted. Yeah. And so we were really, really nervous because you had to pay like a huge fee to bring in your own vendor, and we were like, maybe we have made an error.
Gotcha.
But then we tried one of their appetizers. It was this turkey cranberry slider, and it blew our minds, and it was so good. And so the caterer actually, she was like, yeah, you could do this as your meal. It'd be so easy. You just add on sides and stuff. And so we did feel bad because there was one potential vegetarian that we knew of who could come to the wedding. And so that's where we added broccoli and a salad to the side. So at least they had something.
Yeah.
Not great, but.
Yeah.
So.
I think, yeah. That's hard. Mm-hmm. That's hard if you kind of have to accommodate for everyone, which I hear both sides, but I think definitely need at least.
Yeah.
If you want you're the one, you're the one that's wanting them to come. So, I mean, it makes sense.
I just want to make sure that and they ended up not coming, actually. Gotcha. So it really wasn't an issue. Gotcha. I don't know of any other vegetarians at our wedding, but if there was, I'm really sorry.
Right.
There wasn't a lot of options for you. But, with our photographer and videographer, obviously, we went through the company just because Ryan and I didn't know a lot of photographers and videographers.
Right.
And so we really struggled because we were like, I don't even know how to meet people.
Sure.
And we knew people in our hometowns, but they were like, yeah, we'll come do your shoot. You just have to pay all travel, all hotel, all this stuff. And we're like, maybe not, maybe not. And so then we went through this company, and that's where we met you guys.
Gotcha.
And thankfully, we met you guys because we just kind of meshed with you guys. We had so much fun, because if we couldn't have felt like we could be ourselves in front of you guys, I think that would have made it so difficult.
Oh, for sure.
Especially with like the photos and the video, like that's such a vulnerable thing, and so that's something that was really important to us, is feeling like we could really be ourselves.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part for any kind of vendors, because if you can't vibe with them well, it's just going to be awkward. And at least I don't want to feel awkward on that side of the wedding entirely. So if I'm feeling awkward, I bet someone else is going to. And that's just not us. And we like to make friends. So
it works out.
Yeah, and I was like, I think Eric and Ryan vibed really well. You and I vibed really well, so that just is even better. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely need to. I think you definitely have to be picky of who you have at your wedding.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, those sliders were really good. We were trying to figure out like what it actually was, but we were like, oh my God, we got to get more. And we were like, we don't know if we could, so we kind of like snuck one if we could.
You should have just eaten more. They had an option for us to like pick up all the leftovers afterwards, and I completely forgot.
Gotcha.
Completely forgot about that. That's unfortunate. Oh well.
Okay, awesome. So let's see. So were there any kind of like challenges that you haven't really like heard about? So let me rephrase. Obviously, there's like a good chunk of the planning that no one really talks about, which is kind of like behind the scenes, or like small little details that you don't really remember, or thinking that it could be an issue. Was there anything like that you kind of had to overcome, or like, and if so, how did you kind of get that or have that pass by?
To be honest, I made Ryan have a lot of the hard conversations. I passed him off to him a lot.
Yeah.
And he was a trooper. He was such a great support during it. There was a lot of little things where I was like, how is this even, like, why is this even happening? Yeah. There were moments where, like, when the media company completely dissolved. This was the first time I took a nap since starting wedding planning. Like, I had not taken a single nap the entire time we had wedding planned. Anything, like, from when we got engaged to that point.
Sure.
And I had just gotten so exhausted. And I laid down, took a nap, woke up to emails from this media company, text messages from my friends when they saw it on Facebook. Like, our phones were blown up. And I was like, I'm never sleeping again.
Yeah.
If this is what happens. That one was pretty stressful. So, that one was an interesting time, and that was when you and Eric really stepped up and you guys made it to where we were like, no, everything's fine, everyth's great.
Yeah. No.
That one was
Yeah.
pretty brutal. I'm trying to think of like the little weird things that like you don't think of when planning. I guess decorations were a lot harder than I thought.
Really?
They were a lot harder than I thought because
Uh-huh.
when you have this perfect vision in your head, and it also is difficult because
Yes.
I don't like flowers that much.
Okay.
I'm not a flowers girl,
Okay.
and that's usually how you decorate a wedding.
Right.
So that was brutal.
Gotcha.
So we did a lot of greenery, but
I still like that too, but everyone has their preferences.
yeah. So I really struggled in that area, and then also just like saying no to anybody where they're like, I think this would look nice, and I'm like, oh yeah, like we can definitely try that, even though I had no desire or want to do that. It really grew me in the sense of learning how to politely say no, because it's really easy to say no and just come across as like the meanest person in the world.
Exactly.
So that was one thing that was a lot harder than I expected it to be, because I thought everyone would be like, this is your wedding. We want it to be about you and your day.
But then you're getting all these suggestions.
Yeah, but then, and they still do. They just are so excited. They love it so much.
I was going to say they have good intentions.
They have good intentions, yeah.
It's just people don't, at least from this point of view of now going through that process, I had a train of thought now. Now it's gone. No, yeah, they have good intentions. They just want like you said, the best and happy for you and everything. But sometimes a lot of times it gets overwhelming.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I am definitely a people pleaser. People pleaser. And I try to say yes to everything, or at least, I'll definitely try it out. But even that gets exhausting.
Yeah.
And then you have, like, all this stuff on your plate now, and you're like, okay, maybe I should try it because people can see that I might do it. Anyways. So, if you have, did you have anything else?
Yeah, well,
I didn't want to cut you off.
No, you're totally fine. I think also is before you start asking for help from people, make sure you have a clear idea of what you want.
Exactly.
Because everyone was just so excited to be a part of this, because it was just, we had so many families that loved us and were just so excited for us that I let everyone jump in and help before I even fully had a vision of what I want.
Sure.
So there was a lot more input coming at me because they were really trying to help me hone in on my vision.
Sure.
And that made it a bit harder just because so much was getting thrown at me, and I was like, I don't even know what I want. And so that's where my mom and my mother-in-laws were phenomenal help, because they were like, we had a mom's weekend where both my mother-in-laws and my mom came up, and we just went through everything. Yeah. My mother-in-law, Karen, made my bridesmaids bouquets. My mom and my mother-in-law, Rochelle, like, made all of the centerpieces and put them in baggies and numbered them. So, like, you just pull it out and that's the table number.
Oh, that's awesome.
I got so lucky.
Yeah.
And just so lucky to have that weekend, because it was one weekend. So it wasn't like I was dragging it on for months. And then everyone was just honed in, focused, we're solving this. Yeah. It was great. Yeah. Highly recommend a weekend where you just work on your wedding. But
yeah, that's another thing too, I guess, and it's definitely behind the scenes, where you don't realize how much prep you have to get, or you have to do in order to get all this ready. Like, unless if you like hire someone, or like specifically say, hey, you do this and you do this, I would assume it's more stressful than you think.
Yeah, I noticed that the setup for the church and for the reception hall were both extremely stressful.
Gotcha.
Because I had more help than what I needed.
Okay.
I asked people to come and be like, hey, can you be here because I want to get this set up.
Sure.
And I thought that it was going to take this long time with all these people.
Sure.
But it ended up being really short, and then people are just standing around. And then I started feeling guilty that I had these people come down, and it just caused me to go berserk and have a bunch of anxiety. So definitely recommend encouraging people to, like, go home if you no longer need help.
Right.
Like, I felt guilty sending people away because I made them
Yeah,
come, but I think
right.
they would have been a lot happier
If they
leaving.
just,
Yeah.
if they were to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. That's good. I mean, and like we were talking about earlier, they were probably just happy to be there and help.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's awesome. So I had this. I don't even know if I should say this either. I'm going to say it anyways, just in case. So I had an instance where someone was asked to be there, but I don't know them as well.
Mm.
So, and I said no, and it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an example. So my question is, did you have some hiccups or some kind of dilemmas in your guest list? And that's a very broad, big question,
Mm-hmm.
but I noticed that. Okay, so I'm in like some bridal groups on Facebook, and I see that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have anything to kind of like have an example of or whatnot, is there something that you can say that could make that like little like even 5% stress free to kind of like hey.
Yes. So something that I did that I really liked is
Sure.
on my wedding website, I
Sure.
put the exact names of who was invited.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I got some calls about people who were like, hey, this person's not showing up. Are they invited? And that's where you have to have the hard conversation of no.
Sure.
But there's one thing that I 100% regret and
Sure.
would change in an instant. I would have put on my wedding invite that it was an adults only.
Gotcha.
Because it wasn't necessarily that all these kids showed up or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
We chose that we would have our family.
Sure.
The kids from our families, like Ryan's nieces and nephew.
Yeah.
One of my cousins has 3 little kiddos. But we got a lot of questions about if kids could come.
Gotcha.
And that just was really, really hard on me because I didn't want to tell these people no. Because I know a lot of their kids, and their kids are wonderful.
Sure.
But we just were choosing to have that adult-only atmosphere. But it was just on our, like, fact sheet on our wedding website that a lot of people didn't go to. They didn't go and look at that.
Right.
And so I would have put that on our wedding invite because I think that would have answered a lot of questions for a lot of people.
Sure.
And then it wouldn't have put them in the awkward position of having to ask us if they could bring their kids and us in the awkward position to tell them no. So if you're having a no kids wedding, put it on the invite.
Sure. And I guess that definitely, like you said, gets rid of questions, but as well as it could also kind of like, if people have kind of like I'm going to say an attitude towards it, like kind of like, you don't have to deal with that either, to be very blunt and honest, but that also gives you just like I said, you don't have to deal with all that negativity, and if they really need to say something, then you can just be blunt and honest. I said that twice. Wow, my train of thought is just not here today. Yeah, I'm just trying to say that also helps just get rid of the negativity that you just don't have to face.
Yeah.
You don't ever have to face that. But yeah. We're doing kind of the same thing, and we were telling some people already, and we did not get any negativity at all, but it's just so awkward. But you gotta stick to your guts if that's what you really want.
Yeah.
So, so with all this going on, and you said that you finally took a nap, like tried to take a nap, and that's definitely, like self-care and everything like that. Did you have any other like things you did throughout the time of planning that you kind of just like gave yourself some time to just relax or just like be by yourself and do whatever you wanted, or how did you go about that?
Yeah, so Ryan and I picked our engagement to be 1 year long, just so then I could have breaks. So like, we got our venue set and we got a lot of things figured out right at the get-go, especially like things that we're going to book up quick.
Okay.
But then once I started my new job, I knew that I needed time. And so that's where I took like 3 months just to allow myself to figure out my new job, learn what I was doing, understand my position, and then get back into wedding planning.
Yeah. Sure.
And I didn't follow that 100% just because I really liked working on the wedding website. So I was always tinkering with it, but just allowing yourself the time that you need to like actually plan the wedding without feeling super rushed and stressed out.
Sure.
And that timeline is obviously different for everybody.
Yeah.
A year worked for Ryan and I for the most part.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm someone, once it's planned, I'll go back and look at it again and try and plan it more.
Oh my God, same.
It doesn't work. That's not good.
No.
So I think if we would have gone back, I maybe would have shortened it a little bit.
Okay.
Because after I had that mom's weekend,
sure,
I really didn't have a lot to work on, but I wanted stuff to work on, so I started. It was a mess.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
don't go back and replan the wedding that you've already planned. Don't do that. Because
then you're going to have like second guessing, and if you do that, well, one, it could be like obviously more stress. Two, it's like if you change everything and you already got stuff, that's more money. And I at least for me, I don't want to spend more money. So we got a set budget, and that's all it is. If it goes over, then it's gone, or it's out at least. That's good. That's kind of. I think I have that issue too, because we were like, let's give ourselves like 2.5 years to just give ourselves time to relax and not have to rush. But I guess that's good, but it's also kind of bad, like you said, because then you just want to keep going and going and going. Because at least how I feel is just excitement. I just kind of want it to be here, and it's just, that can be kind of stressful too.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. Kind of talked about a lot of questions. I need more questions. Yeah. Let's see. Talk about that. Well, I guess another question that just popped up. So you had mentioned that you gave Ryan. I would say we're about almost done.
Oh, okay.
Just a heads up or something. Okay. You had mentioned that you kind of gave the hard stuff to Ryan to do. So besides that, was there anything that he kind of did to basically help you out to kind of, or did you guys do things together? Either like planning or anything like that?
I mean, he went to the venue tours with me.
Okay.
He did that.
Yeah.
I think Ryan understands me very well.
Okay.
And he knows that I am one of the most particular people you will ever meet.
Sure.
And I need perfection.
Yeah.
Not actually, but as close to it as I can.
Yeah.
And so I think he knew that a lot of what he would provide is just moral support.
Gotcha.
And just, making sure that I didn't actually go insane.
Gotcha.
So like a lot of the hard conversations that I just wasn't prepared to have, or the hard conversations where it wasn't my people.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
He kind of took those on. There were a couple hard conversations that I had to do, but
sure.
That was his biggest support, was just kind of letting me take the reins and then looking at it. He also helped with the guest list.
Sure.
That was a big one. We actually we got COVID before we were even engaged. It was like in January.
Sure.
And while in quarantine, we made our wedding guest list.
Oh, that's funny.
Weren't even engaged. And we were like, wow, this is a really good guest list. Like, we crushed it. This is perfect amount of people. Then it came time to actually, like, finalize the guest list.
Sure.
And all 3 families were like, you forgot about 20 people for each of us, for family members. And I was like, I completely forgot they existed. We were so sick in COVID. Why we were doing that, I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, so luckily we
Mm-hmm.
had each family look over the list and be
Yeah.
like, is this everybody? Is this right? Is this everybody? Is this right? And then
Yeah.
they're like, oh, you kind of forgot these people, these people, these people. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
shoot. But
Yeah.
it worked out.
Yeah. That's actually kind of funny though. I love that. So I guess another like bouncing off that question or the little topic. So, have you guys kind of let your parents kind of like invite at least a couple people that they know, like their friends or whatnot?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we had quite a few people there that were friends with a lot. The only family that didn't really, I shouldn't say didn't get to invite, but didn't really have a
Sure.
lot of people there was the family in Texas. Just
Okay.
because travel's a little harder,
Sure.
especially in March. And it was
Yeah.
freezing. I would have felt horrible if anybody was up there and they're used to like 60-degree
Oh
weather
yeah,
and they
I
were
was
in
gonna
that
say,
weather.
especially from
Um,
Texas.
but yeah, everyone got like we were like, okay, we've got all of the family listed, so
Sure.
this is how many people that you can invite on
Okay.
top of this.
Yeah. All good. Awesome. Because I think that's another, like I keep saying, that's another hard little topic because then you're like, do I try to be nice and just let them kind of have people to talk to, or
Yeah.
do I just stick to my guns and just say like, this is how many we can have?
Yeah.
But I think that's also like a good thing to do because then if they knew you for quite some time and if you know them, why not? Just
Yeah.
I mean, invite them. If they don't come, they don't come.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And it worked out really well for us just because
Yeah.
all of our families are so tight knit, not necessarily
Good.
to each other, but like within each family unit, they're very
Sure.
tight knit. So the family that was there are the people that we usually would hang out with anyway.
Yeah.
So it worked out great.
Awesome. So now I'm gonna jump to a whole nother topic 'cause I just
Okay.
thought of this. So your wedding party, it's a big thing in the wedding.
Yeah.
You don't have to do full details if you don't want to, but how did you end up, or what was your thought process on picking who in the wedding party?
So my sisters were a given.
Sure.
They were a given.
Yep.
So was I should clarify.
Okay.
Every single bridesmaid that was up there was a given.
Sure.
Like they probably all knew that they were going to be bridesmaids.
Okay.
My sisters, obviously, my younger sister understood that she was not going to be the maid of honor.
Gotcha.
Just kind of how it is. She was still in high school. Just kind of one of those things. But
Sure.
I really looked at it of who is really going to be around for Ryan and I's relationship. Who's going to truly be a part of our marriage and who helped me develop into the woman that I am that is marrying Ryan.
Yeah.
And so I wanted people who really were invested in me and invested in my life. And
Sure.
unfortunately, there was so many women that I could have chosen.
Sure.
So many women. And I'm very fortunate for that. But each woman that was up there was so instrumental to me and Ryan or just me in general.
Sure.
So Peyton. So it went Kyra, Shay, Peyton, Amanda, Chloe, Kennedy.
Sure.
And obviously Kyra and Shay are my sisters, so they're big. Peyton was my freshman year roommate. She is my soul sister. Like we are two peas in a pod. And her and her family have truly helped me develop into who I am today.
Yeah.
And then Amanda's my cousin.
Okay.
And they're like your first best friends.
Sure.
Like
always.
I absolutely love getting to hang out with her and just doing anything with her. So
Okay.
And then Chloe is really the reason Ryan and I started dating.
No way.
Because I initially did not want to date Ryan.
Oh, no.
I did not want to date him. I thought of him as this fantastic friend, and we were just really thriving.
Yeah.
Had no clue that he was interested in me.
Interesting.
I was just floating.
Yeah.
And Chloe was like, I really think you should, like, give him a chance. Like, give him a try. And I was like,
yeah.
And she's like, no, seriously. So she's the reason we dated.
Oh.
So go Chloe.
Yeah, right.
And then Kennedy, she is my childhood best friend.
Yeah.
Like we grew up
Oh,
together,
that's
did
awesome.
everything together. And she actually got married the September before, like
Yeah.
right before ours. So I was a
Okay.
bridesmaid in her wedding, which was super fun.
Yeah. Awesome.
And I absolutely loved it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I did, did you understand how Ryan picked his guys?
Yes.
Okay.
So he originally was going to have his brothers.
Okay.
But he has 3 brothers.
Okay.
And then he had a group of 6 friends. It was 6.
Gotcha.
And I was like, I can't come up with 9 girls. Like
Yeah.
I could, but it'd be stretching it, you know? Just in the sense of how are we going to fit him on the stage?
Right.
All of those things. All those
Right.
things that he doesn't think about. So that's where we decided that his brothers would be ushers, just because
Sure.
his brothers were ushers, and then my cousin Andrew was an usher. And they knew all the families. They knew where to seat people. It just made it easier.
Sure.
And then Marcus and Landon. Marcus was his best man.
Mhm.
And Landon is Marcus's fraternal twin, actually. But very,
Gotcha.
very good friends. Like, they kind of went through the gut of life together
Oh,
in
okay.
college. And they helped him develop, and he helped them develop.
Awesome.
Mason is also kind of grouped in with that.
Sure.
They all grew in their faith so much together, and that really bonded them. And so he knew that that's who we wanted in his wedding party. Then Tyler was his roommate
Okay.
in college, and they got really, really close through that. And he
Yeah.
just always had a really good connection. His childhood friend, Ryan,
Yeah.
not to be confused with my fiance, Ryan, or my husband, Ryan,
Yeah.
now not even my fiance anymore. He was his childhood best friend back in Texas.
Okay.
And he ended up having to drop out of the wedding party
Oh.
because work was not allowing him to be gone the month that we were getting married.
Wow.
So he was like, I think there was something where if he started a training, he had to stay in Texas for the entire training.
Okay.
And there was a possibility it would start right before our wedding. So he's like, I'm going to step back. So then if you need to ask somebody else, you can.
Yeah.
Different things like that.
Yep. That's such a big
Yeah.
thing to do. Awesome.
So Ryan decided, he did ask one other guy, but the guy was like, I'm not going to do that. And it was totally understandable.
Sure.
But then Alex is married to Chloe.
Okay.
And Alex kind of helped in the process of Ryan and I dating. And then he also just helped Ryan grow in his faith too.
Sure.
And just really came alongside him. So
That's awesome.
just a lot of people who helped us grow into the people who stood up on that stage and got married.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. That's awesome. I liked that you said that in the beginning that you have everyone up there to support you in your marriage. I think that's definitely, I was told that and I picked out the people with that deeply in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is something, it's kind of like a given to do that. But I think also, oh my God, I had such a big thought in my head.
That's
Wow.
right.
Yeah, I definitely think that you just need to have people just to support you, because one, it'll be kind of really awkward if and things can happen. Things can happen, but when it really comes down to it, if you just need someone there, they're there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's definitely, I could tell that all your people are definitely there no matter what, which is great, which is awesome. Let's see. The last thing I kind of have, which will wrap it up. What, you gave a little bit of advice on, what was it? I think it was the all the decorations and just kind of like getting everything together and just having everyone help you. Was there anything that kind of came across that, any more advice that came across to just random advice that could help?
Yeah, for sure. Hire a wedding coordinator. Or ask a really good organized friend to be a wedding coordinator and get them a very, very, very nice gift.
Sure.
There was a lot of things that came up at the wedding that I learned about after the fact.
Okay.
That I had no clue even popped up because
Yeah.
my phenomenal great friend Jacqueline
Yeah.
literally solved it all.
Oh, yeah. I remember her helping out.
There was so much. There was just little things where you're just like, what? Also, highly recommend like putting everything together the night before if you're driving your stuff somewhere.
Gotcha.
I left for the church to start getting my hair and makeup done, and I arrived there and everything was going great. And then I started thinking about it. I had left my wedding dress at my apartment.
I think I remember that.
Didn't even have it. And I was like, okay,
oh, geez.
regroup. Let's figure that out. So someone had to bring my wedding dress. I forgot all my undergarments. Somebody had to bring all those. Like, it just, I seriously think the only thing that I remembered was my Stanley water cup.
Oh, my gosh.
Because everyone said, like, drink water.
Yeah.
So that's literally all I remembered.
Yeah.
And then everyone always says eat food.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't. I was so nervous the day of the wedding.
I mean, at some point,
a couple bites before you go out there. Like, yeah. Have some games planned because that's random. But like when you're getting ready, there was like this portion in between, like, because I had to be completely ready to do all my first looks and everything.
Sure.
And then you were taking pictures of the guys.
Sure.
And I was just upstairs, like, having an anxiety attack. Just because everything became so real. Like, everything that I had planned for is happening.
Sure.
And it was such an excited, anxious, where I was just like, can I just get to the aisle? Can I just get it? Can I just be there already? And my wonderful, wonderful bridesmaids, like, on the fly, started making up these games that we could play to distract me.
Yeah.
So having those plans, highly recommend.
Facts.
I'm trying to think what else. There's just, like, little things where I'm like, yeah, don't do what I did. That was really stupid of me. There's quite a few of those.
Yeah.
A month before the wedding, double check with everybody that they've purchased everything that they need, that everything is in order, because the day of the wedding is not the time to find out that one of your groomsmen has not ordered all of his things.
What was it? I remember that.
He didn't have a bow tie or his pocket square.
Oh, no.
And so also have your groomsmen or bridesmaids, either one, double check if they're renting something, that everything is there. Because one of our groomsmen, his vest wasn't there, and he is an absolute wonderful man and so sweet that he drove there and got the vest that he needed and then came back. And while he was out, was searching to find a tie that kind of matched the tie that we had to give to the other groomsmen. Geez. Wonderful, wonderful guy. It was Ryan's best man. He's wonderful. But just some of those things, like, some things that I didn't think I would need to do, you do, just to make sure things go off without a hitch.
Sure.
But yeah.
Awesome.
It's chaos. Just embrace it.
Yeah, definitely embrace it. Have fun. At the end of the day, people are there for you.
Yeah.
And your spouse. So, everything else that makes it look pretty or fun or whatever, but if they came, they obviously came for a reason. So it's kind of on them if they like get bored or whatever, or just get whatever.
Yeah. I feel like it was really hard to be bored at Ryan and I's wedding.
Oh no,
Ryan,
for sure.
Ryan is such a crowd pleaser.
Yes.
His dance moves are unreal. That's where Ryan and I worked really well together, because he kept everybody occupied on the dance floor.
Yep.
And I'd pop out there every so often.
Sure.
Specifically when Shut Up Kenny by Walker Hayes came on.
Yep.
But I also was able to just like walk around and talk with people and just make sure people like got to see one of us.
Yeah.
And that was super great. Oh, I also forgot we had appetizers. That was huge.
Yeah.
That made it a lot easier to get through the night.
Yeah.
It was a pretzel bar. Highly recommend.
That was good.
That was great.
I think, yeah, you definitely need to have more than just dinner and your sweet stuff. Because people, a lot of times I see people just wanting to snack or do something with their hands.
Yeah.
And it's in general, like how I'm doing right now. But yeah, definitely have something to keep occupied.
Yeah. Also, if you get a layered cake or a tiered cake, there's a dowel in the middle of the cake. So when you go to cut it, don't hit straight on the dowel because you'll almost knock your cake off the cake stand.
I think that's what happened.
That's what happened. Oh. That's what happened. I was watching that video actually the other day.
Oh, jeez.
And I was like, wow, we got so lucky that did not just topple over.
Yeah. Well, I think also, too, if I remember correctly, this little thing it was on, it wasn't sturdy either.
No, I went for looks rather than what actually I should have gone for. And so, yeah, that was rough. But,
yeah, that's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing. I am really glad you came out. Shout out to you for just coming out and just spill everything you had.
I know.
Yeah.
If this wasn't being broadcast to a lot of people, I have so many stories.
I'm sure.
The chaos that ensued. Actually, when you guys had me mic'd up, this needs to be cut out, Eric.
Okay.
You guys had me mic'd up. I may or may not have been talking crap about people. That's horrible of me, but I was just complaining about some people to my parents. Yeah. And I remember Eric came up and he was like, yeah, I heard you, your feelings. And I was like, I forgot that I was mic'd up. Cut that part out. Cut that.
Eric came up to you.
Yeah, I remember. I was like,
of course he would do that.
What did I say? I said something like, I was like, sorry, we were complaining. He's like, oh yeah, no, we heard you. You were talking about crap. And I was like, you're right, Eric, you're right. It cracked me up, but luckily I knew that you guys weren't going to say anything.
No.
Let alone did you probably know the people that I was listening.
To be quite honest, we just laugh. I mean, we hear it. We hear a lot of things, and it's nothing new. I mean, and I hate to say that, but that's life.
It's just one of those things where
it was your day, and I'm sure you had a good reason, but it's all good.
Yeah,
it's all good.
So
awesome,
pretty crazy.
Well, that wraps up this episode, and I hope you see you in the next one. And that's it. That's so awkward, right?
No, it's great. It's great.
Awesome.